it's Messi! It is the cleanest of clean finishes from the best on the planet.
It's time for the biggest sports stories.
Liverpool, the champions of Europe, are top of the world.
The biggest interviews.
That such a great spectacle is ruined by such thuggish behavior.
And all the analysis right here.
He's the one player that has the arrogance to think that he can play in any stadium in the world and any pitch in the world in front of any player in the world and take them on.
Every weekday, it's my sport, it's your sport. It's ZiFM Sport. Let's join the team for the biggest show in the world of sport on ZiFM Stereo. My station, your station.
It's a Friday, everybody. It's a weekend. They used to say, and probably still can, we are your weekend special. We are indeed, because we get your weekend off to the way that it ought to start. ZiFM Sport, you've made the right choice in ZiFM Stereo. The team is here: Mike Madoda, Chris Midzi, Alois Bunjira, our producer Sean Tafirenyika. My name is Barry Manandi. On the home front today, we're talking FC Platinum. Their captain and veteran goalkeeper Petros Mari is confident his team can overturn the 1-0 CAF Confederations Cup first leg playoff loss they suffered at the hands of the Senegalese side AC Jaraaf when they square off in Dakar on Sunday.
We've got international sports news for you, and we'll take off down under where Daniel Medvedev will face Novak Djokovic in the Australian Open final after defeating Stefanos Tsitsipas. In news from South Africa, support is growing for the British and Irish Lions series against the Springboks to be held in Australia after the idea was first mooted by Rugby Australia late last month following uncertainty over whether the tour would go ahead amid the COVID-19 pandemic. And in the United States, James Harden had 23 points and 11 assists, and Joe Harris scored 21 points as the Brooklyn Nets beat the host LA Lakers 109-98 early this morning.
Don't miss out on our play of the day. Today is Friday, Fire Friday. We'll get your party started right here on ZiFM Sport. And then we go big in the beautiful game, the 289th Merseyside derby. It comes with just one place and 3 points separating Liverpool and Everton on the Premier League table. It promises to be a barn burner. We go over to Italy for the first time in a decade. The Milan Giants occupied the top two positions in Serie A, heading into the Derby della Madonnina, which is the 174th between Inter and Milan. In Germany, Schalke 04 take on Borussia Dortmund in the Revier Derby, with the hosts in desperate need of 3 points in order to prevent this derby meeting being their last one in the Bundesliga for at least a couple of seasons. We'll also have football from La Liga, Ligue 1, as well as the DStv Premiership in South Africa.
Today's Fire Friday, it's time for our power play, and today it's the turn of Professor. This one's featuring DJ Tira. It's called Sekawinile.
How is it, guys? Elvis Tibola Pomba Moyo, WPF.
This is the bomb.
All Africa heavyweight champion 2-time. You are listening to ZiFM Sport.
You can get in touch with us on all of our social media platforms. It is at ZiFM Sport. If you want to carry on any conversation that we start here, and then of course we are on YouTube as well. In our individual capacities, it's at Mike Madoda, at Gazaman14 for Alois Bunjira, at Sean Tafirenyika, and of course at Chris Midzi. My handle is at Barry Manandi. We're going to be talking about FC Platinum. They go and do battle on Sunday in Dakar, Senegal against AC Jaraaf, trailing 1-0 in that match. But first, let's give you a local sports news roundup.
The Home Front. Local sports news and analysis.
Your local sports news roundup starts with cricket, where Zimbabwe national cricket team coach Lauchand Rajput says he'll miss experienced players that have failed to make the squad for their tour of the United Arab Emirates, where they'll play Afghanistan. Rajput also said he's pleased to see fringe and young players getting an opportunity to stake a claim in the Chevron setup. The team was hit at its core with the experienced batting duo of Brendan Taylor and Craig Irvine failing to recover from illness on time to travel, while seamers Kyle Jarvis and Tendai Chatara are both absentees through injury. In hockey news, Zimbabwe under-21 men's team coach Fidelis Majuba says the postponement of the Junior Africa Cup comes as a relief for the side and will give them more time to fine-tune their preparations. The tournament was scheduled for next month in Ghana, but the Africa Hockey Federation moved it to August. They will also announce new hosts for the event in due course. Zimbabwe will field both the men's and women's team in the continental competition, which is also acting as a qualifier for the Junior Hockey World Cup. Let's wrap it up with boxing news, where super bantamweight champion Tinashe Chairman Madzwana is feeling confident ahead of an ABU featherweight title fight against Nathaniel Kakololo of Namibia in Windhoek next Saturday. Madzwana has fought 29 bouts in his 15-year career with a modest record of 17 wins, 10 of which were by knockout, as well as 12 defeats. The boxer is currently on an unbeaten streak of 5 fights, and he is the current super bantamweight champion in the country.
Hi, my name is Rudoni Shamba, Mytoria's super striker. You're listening to ZiFM Sports.
The beating drum. The roaring fans. Take a ride on the wild side with the Africa Report on ZiFM Sport.
Zimbabwe representatives in African competition, that's FC Platinum. They go into battle, and indeed the only team in Zimbabwe playing football, legally, that is. They go across to Senegal. They play on Sunday against AC Jaraaf. It's the second leg of their game, and FC Platinum captain and veteran goalkeeper Petros Mari is confident his team can overturn the 1-0 CAF Confederation Cup first leg playoff loss they suffered at the hands of Senegalese side ASC Jaraaf when they square off in Dakar on Sunday. Mari described the must-win tie against the West Africans as a big test which they need to pass. The former Premier Soccer League goalkeeper of the year believes teamwork will carry them through. Let's get the pre-match thoughts of FC Platinum coach, the gaffer, Norman Mapeza.
At the end of the day, we are playing away from home. We lost the first game 1-0, and we know the challenge we're going to face on Sunday. We have to win. We have to win it. Either we're going to win 2-0 or we're going to win 2-1, or maybe we're going to win 3-0. But what we just need is for us to win to go through. Yeah, if we're going to win 1-0, then it means we're going to go to the penalties. But we need to win. Either it's 2-1, it's 2-0 or 3-0. We definitely need to win. But we need to be very, very organized. We need to have discipline. You know, we cannot just go there and say, look, we need to win this game at all costs. No organization at the back, no organization in midfield. Then it's going to be disaster for us. So it's all about organization. That's the most important thing. It's all about organization, especially when we go out there on the pitch on Sunday. But if the referee comes with a different story, there's nothing we can do. There's nothing we can do. Yeah.
Lots of confidence in the FC Platinum camp, Alois, and you got to say to yourself that it's either they're confident because of what they saw of AFC Jaraaf in that first leg, or secondly, it's just bravado and hoping they can overturn this 1-0 deficit.
Yeah, I think it's better say if you say bravado, you know, for confidence. I'm not so sure to be honest, because the way they played last Sunday, it didn't. I wasn't convinced. You know, I'm not particularly expecting them to overturn the scoreline when they go to Dakar.
Alois, I wanna know. You weren't able to get your thoughts after that first leg on Monday. Yeah. So I want to get an understanding of when you say what you saw didn't convince you. What didn't you see, and what did you see that made you think this is bravado more so than them thinking that inoroweka team?
Yeah, I think the ability of the players, of the FC Platinum players, I thought that we are not there. We're not there. They're not the finished product that I expect to see from the best club in the country. You know, especially going forward. You know, I was disappointed. Just the movement. You know, there are times when you are not a good player technically, but movement. There's nothing like I was off form with movement. You can't be off form with your movement. You know, movement and working hard. It's not something that you can say I was off form, I couldn't work hard because I was off form. No, movement and working hard is something that you can actually decide that you are going to do, or something that you already know that you can do. So I didn't see anything the movement was non-existent with the frontliners of FC Platinum. There was no cohesion going forward with their midfield coming with the ball, with the frontliners coming making the moves. So for me, when they go there, they are still going to do exactly the same thing that they do, probably because these guys are big. If you are not moving, if you are not nippy, when you are playing against big players, if there's no movement, you're not going to create chances on so.
Mike, that's a damning indictment on the champions of the league and serial champions in Zimbabwe, where Alois is pointing out that their technical ability leaves a lot to be desired. And he's pointing out that he thinks it's a little bit more than just rust. He reckons that it's beyond just being rusty, ring rusty, as they would say in boxing parlance. This is just an inability, an ineptitude on the part of the players, things like movement.
Yeah, we didn't see that, Barry, and the performance was lethargic. But having said all that, I don't think it's mission impossible, because I don't think the Senegalese themselves are a side of extreme quality. I think they're a bang average side, and it explains the reason why they're also participating in the CAF Confederations Cup. So I think if Norman Mapeza is able just to get another gear out of his charges, as average as they may be, and he's able to get them to operate at a more efficient level, he may well be able to at least get a goal early on that may throw the cat amongst the pigeons. But FC Platinum will need to be very careful how they approach this game. They'll have to defend very well. They'll have to be a lot better than they were in this previous game, because there are some very decent players that we saw from the Senegalese side. We saw, of course, Ousmane Sanyam. We saw Pape Paye, who came in and he was able to get the Senegalese to operate at a better level than they'd operated in the first half of that game. So whilst the quality of the FC Platinum leaves a lot to be desired, Norman Mapeza would want better players that are able to implement his tactics and implement them well. But still, the quality that FC Platinum has should be enough to at least trouble the Senegalese, because they are not a great side by no stretch of the imagination. The Senegalese side is not a great side.
Chris, FC Platinum themselves created enough chances to get something out of the game, that home leg here, the first leg against ASC Jaraaf. They didn't manage to do that, obviously, because they fluffed their lines, but that's got to give them a bit of confidence. And you got to think to yourself, with the permutations and the mission being as simple as FC Platinum just needs to go to Dakar and win. If they win 1-0, it goes to extra time. If they win by more than a goal, then they go through to the group stages of the CAF Confederations Cup. With that permutation in place, an early goal surely must be an absolute must for Norman Mapeza's men.
FC Platinum definitely need to score an early goal. They need to make sure that they score those 2 goals. And just from their last encounter with ASC Jaraaf, you can see that they're well capable of doing so. But what they need to do is manage to take their chances. I don't think going out to Senegal, they're going to be given very many chances. They're going to be they'll be able to probably create some opportunities, but what we didn't see was FC Platinum capitalizing on all of the opportunities they had throughout that match. So it's going to be a tough ask if they show up in the same manner going into this next match. So for me, they definitely need to score an early goal, yes, but they need to really focus on taking all of these chances.
Well, the other thing we're going to have to keep an eye on, Barry, are Norman Mapeza's selections, especially in attack, since he's chasing the game. Does he go with the same team that played in the first leg, where we had Teguru and Silas Songani trying to provide the width with Ngoma in the middle as the target man? Ngoma was poor, wondered why he played 90 minutes, and then he had Teguru, who was bang average in his competitive debut for FC Platinum. Silas Songani was so bad he had to be hauled off at halftime. Does he stick with those players, or does he try and mix it up? Does he give Rodwo Chinyenge more than the 15 minutes he gave them in the first leg? Because he did play quite decently for about 10 minutes. And when Alois was talking about technical ability, when he was talking about movement, that has always been the strength of Chinyenge Tere. If he's able to bring that, he's then able to at least give the other midfielders and the wide men a few more options, and perhaps someone to play next to Ngoma as the target man might just free him up a bit, or at least create a bit more space than if he's being marked by two centre-backs. So Norman Mapeza's tactics and selections will also be questioned in this game. It's more than just the players who get FC Platinum over the line.
Alois, I want to get a sense of your assessment on Donald Ngoma. You talked about the issue of technical ability, the movement of players, the understanding, the match intelligence of the players. What was your assessment of Donald Ngoma?
Yeah, I think Mike got it right. He was very poor. He was very poor on the day. You talk of intelligence. When you talk of intelligence, he didn't have a lot of it on the day, because there were a lot of times when I saw him in positions where he could actually have made a very effective run, or when he gets the ball, he could have been standing in a very positive manner. There was a time that I screamed for him to just open up and get into space so that he can get the ball in front of him, but he decided to keep standing so that he can receive the ball with his back to the goal instead of so there was a lot that I could actually write home about Donald Ngoma that I can actually tick as wrong. If I am to give him a mark, probably 3 out of 10 would be very generous of me on that day. No, to be honest, because if Rodwo Chinyengetere had gotten on a little earlier, he could have done better. And like Mike said, on selection, I hope that Norman Mapeza goes for the selection not with a target man. He doesn't need a target man. Those guys are big. So you don't need that target man, because he was not winning anything anyway as the target man, so it was pointless. So they actually need a nippy front runner who can actually go into spaces. Those guys are big, they are not quick on takeoff. You need that nippy striker that can actually do the business. So that's what I prefer. I would love to see Norman with his selection, players that are mobile, very mobile, and like we said, they need an early goal. And you need an early goal, you can only get it if you are very mobile and quick off the mark and you're going for goal. That's what he needs. But then there's a point that Mike said that team is average. Sometimes from my experience in Africa, you would think that it's usually normal for an away team to come and sit and relax, and you wouldn't notice. Go to their home ground when you would think that this guy is on propellers. He has got propellers in his life. They change. You won't even believe that those are the same guys that you saw at the National Sports Stadium when we played against Express of Uganda. We beat them 5-2 here, and we were like, this guy is average. We beat guys. What we saw in Uganda, you would think that it was a totally different team altogether. These guys, when they are at home, they change. So if FC Platinum need to understand that they might not face the same team that they faced at the National Sports Stadium. So they need to be very aware of that and put a gear up.
What Alois is mentioning, Chris, is critical, because I think we focused on one area of their mental aptitude and their psychological preparation, and that has been around all of the atmospherics, the environmental issues, the things that AFC Jaraaf can get into the heads of the FC Platinum players to get them off their game. There's also the mental preparation to say that, look, they could be facing a side that is a lot more comfortable at home, that knows their surroundings, that knows what they need to do at home. They'll need to be prepared for that as well.
They'll need to be prepared for that. And don't forget this team, in as much as their captain will point to a lucky win coming to Harare and managing to get a win, and that they were lucky to get that win. This is a team that's now confident that even in a match where they weren't necessarily performing their best, they were still able to beat FC Platinum. So this is a confident team going into this match. They're very confident going into this. And FC Platinum also need to be aware of, in as much as, yes, there's the atmospheric, this team is at home, they're comfortable, they might have their fans in the stadium as well. So this is going to be quite entirely, in terms of just taking a look at the optics, this match is quite entirely in the favor of AC Jaraaf.
It certainly is. And Mike, another thing that Alois mentioned was that the defenders looked slow. And in truth, we wish Perfect Chikwende was still available for selection for AFC Platinum.
Yes.
Because that type of player certainly could get behind them. But we can't cry over what we don't have. We have to talk about what we do have. And what we do have is Raman Kutsanzira, who's now available, wasn't available for the first leg, was out with injury. And he presents an option for Norman Mapeza, which gives him a bit of pace and a bit of width as well, and trickery and guile.
You're so right that they'll miss perfect Chikwende, but that's now water under the bridge. He's no longer an FC Platinum player. He's a Simba Stars player. And so it's players like Raman Kutsanzi that could provide that bite and that creativity that Norman Mapeza is going to need out in Senegal. The only difference, though, between Raman Kutsanzira and Perfect Chikwende is that Perfect Chikwende was more direct. He was quicker. Raman Kutsanzira is no longer the speedy winger that he was 5 seasons ago. So he's not going to provide that cut and thrust that they would have got from Chikwende. So I'm looking at those players, they've got to hope that Silas Songani can bring his A game, like we saw when he played against Highlanders in that Castle Challenge Cup. But that was 12 months ago. They've got to hope that Donald Teguru can have a surer first touch, because he has the pace and he has the ability. But does he have the first touch? Because his first touch seemed to desert him completely in the first leg. He wasn't able to trap the ball. And at times, he was sitting on top of the central midfielders instead of providing the width that Norman Mapeza wanted him to provide. So it's that movement, again, that Alois was talking about, knowing what position to occupy at any given time and making sure that you're providing the right angles for the pass, whether they're coming in from central midfield or they're coming in from your fullbacks. So that, I think, is the thinking. So it's more about Norman Mapeza trying to get a tune out of the players that failed to give him one in the first leg.
And that tune has got to start from the back, doesn't it, Alois? In that, yes, albeit that we're talking about their attacking options, we're talking about them going forward. They can ill afford to concede, because now they're working against an away goal that ASC Jaraaf gained. Let's talk about their defense. Petros Mari, of course, a safe pair of hands. The Gift Bello and Lawrence Mhlanga weren't given much sleepless nights, in inverted commas, by ASC Jaraaf because there wasn't much in attack. That central defensive pairing, it's almost a little and large, isn't it? Because Lawrence Mhlanga is a tall man, and then you got Gift Bello, who's a tiny man. What's your assessment of that pairing?
Yeah, I thought they did well in the game. They did well. They didn't give the Senegalese a lot of chances. Save for that one goal, I was disappointed because it went through the middle. I don't know if they were doing offside trap or not. I'm not so sure, and that is a danger. You don't do that away from home, especially in West Africa. You don't do offside trap. There's no VAR. There's no VAR there. No one is going to come back and say he was not offside. He was offside or wide. The referee will just point to the center. So don't need to do that. But I like this. I like Lawrence Mhlanga for the height and for the frame that he has got. So most probably he will be assigned. I'm thinking that he is the one who is going to be assigned, because I'm telling you now, should the need comes, these guys will start pumping the balls. They've got fans and everybody behind them. They will start putting balls into the box. A lot more balls into the box, high crosses, high direct balls. So Lawrence Mhlanga is going to be the person that is going to be going for those high balls. Then Gift Bello, he must be very, very aware. He needs to be very clever. He doesn't have height, so he needs intelligence, a lot of intelligence. He needs a lot of anticipation to know where the ball is dropping. When there's a challenge, two people going up, Lawrence Mhlanga and the striker, he needs to know exactly anticipate where the ball is going to drop and mop up. He is going to be the mopping up guy, because he is not going to be going in for 50-50 challenges.
Does Norman Mapeza, though, select Lawrence Mhlanga if William Stima is fit? Because that's another one to keep an eye on, because Norman has generally trusted the centre-back pairing of William Stima and Gift Bello. I totally get where Alois is saying, where Lawrence Mhlanga certainly is... if you're going horses for courses, I think he's best suited to the type of onslaught that FC Platinum may well face in West Africa when they play against ASC Jaraaf. But Norman Mapeza loves the ball-playing centre-back. I think that's why he stuck with Gift Bello for so long, and that's why he converted William Stima, who was a midfielder and at best a left-back, into a central defender, because he wants that pass out of central defense. So that's another one to keep an eye on. The other thing that will also encourage FC Platinum is that ASC Jaraaf, their home form for a very long time, so we can't even call it a form. If you take a look at their defeats over the last 12 months, the majority of them have come at home. If you take a look at their latest reverse, so it was against Duanes, they lost 4-1 at home. So they're capable of shipping in goals at home. They lost again to San Pedro in the CAF Confederations Cup in the game that led to this one versus FC Platinum. San Pedro, of course, is an Ivory Coast side. They lost 1-0 at home. If you take a look at their defeats, I think of the 10 defeats that they have suffered over the last 12 months, I think 6 or 7 of them are actually when they're playing at home. That should give FC Platinum a bit of hope.
Yeah, absolutely. And Norman Mapeza, in fact, in his pre-match press conference or post-match press conference, he mentioned the fact that they have lost at home, so he's taking a lot of confidence from that. So Mike is absolutely correct. That home form is going to be a source of confidence for FC Platinum. Their role and their mission at the Lat Dior Stadium, just outside of Dakar, is simple. They need to get a victory of any nature. 1-0 scoreline takes them to extra time. Any victory with more than a single goal means that they go into the next round, which is the group stages of the CAF Confederations Cup, which is what FC Platinum is aiming for. Chris, they've got a massive responsibility on their shoulders. They're the only team in Zimbabwe playing football legally, and so therefore they need to go to the next round so Zimbabwe continues to have some football.
They absolutely need to continue in the CAF Confederation so that we have some sort of semblance of local, in inverted commas, football. And I think it's critical to just have at least something happening on the local front. But we, after that last performance, I'm not necessarily sure that we should pin our hopes of local football on FC Platinum.
Yeah, it's a message.
Unpopular opinion, Barry.
Yeah.
Unpopular opinion, FC Platinum is flying the flag for themselves. They are flying the flag for FCP and for Zhishavane. Beyond that, they've got zero obligation. They're not a national team.
I'm not sure why you say it's unpopular. It's an absolute truth. So FC Platinum doing
because you always get the argument, around, let's all support FC Platinum. Let's all support Caps United. Let's all support Highlanders, especially when they're in continental competitions. And for me, I just don't buy into that thinking.
I also don't buy that. I also don't buy that, Mike.
The simple logic being that we'll support them if we want to. And if you want to support FC Platinum, you certainly can, because they're in action on Sunday. Guys, I need some predictions for you before we move on with the show. Alois, how do you think this one's going to end?
Barry, I don't want to be a prophet of doom, but with FC Platinum, I haven't seen goals. They don't have goals in them. When I try to close my eyes and try to think who is going to score, where they're gonna, this team ships goals, but do we have the goals? I don't see that happening. I'm looking at a situation where they're gonna lose 2-0 in Dakar.
Not even score at all. Chris, what do you reckon?
I'm with Alois, but 1-0 scoreline.
A 1-0 scoreline again, that AC Jaraaf will do exactly what they did in Harare out in Dakar. Mikey?
I'm going with the 2-0 win for FC Platinum. I think it's going to be a great occasion for Norman Mapeza, the remontada, the comeback, and FC Platinum will march on. That's my heart, guys. Come on, one of us is going to go hard here.
So Mike there stating that he's certainly supporting FC Platinum and hoping that they go through to the group stages of the CAF Confederations Cup. I reckon that the match... Yes, I reckon the match is going to end 2-1 in favor of FC Platinum, and I think that FC Platinum is going to go through on away goals. They're going to score 2 away goals, which is a lot more than ASC Jaraaf has, and therefore go to the knockout stages. Sunday is the game. Monday is ZiFM Sport. So on Monday, we'll certainly review this game and tell you how it ended. We hope that they can do the business. Certainly those that are supporting pure platinum play. Around the World in 60, here's next.
Around the World in 60 seconds. International sports news.
We take off down under where Daniel Medvedev will face Novak Djokovic in the Australian Open final after defeating Stefanos Tsitsipas. The Russian booked his spot in the final with a 6-4, 6-2, 7-5 win. We'll head over to South Africa where support is growing for the British and Irish Lions series against the Springboks to be held in Australia. The idea was first mooted by Rugby Australia late last month following uncertainty over whether the tour would go ahead amid the COVID-19 pandemic. The coronavirus is largely contained in Australia, and matches could therefore be played with fans in attendance. According to British publication The Telegraph, the proposal is looking increasingly likely. Barry, this is a bit of an interesting development, and it's definitely going to be, if it does go ahead, a significant move away from tradition.
Yeah, it's going to be a significant move away from tradition if it does go ahead, because listen, a lot of water still needs to pass under this bridge. But in truth, one would want it to be that the nation that they've decided to tour, they actually tour. We're in a pandemic season, so things change, and a lot of things can influence your decisions. But if they can, they should try to go to South Africa.
We'll touch down in the United States, where James Harden had 23 points and 11 assists, and Joe Harris scored 21 points as the Brooklyn Nets beat the host LA Lakers 109-98 early this morning. Kyrie Irving contributed 16 points and 7 rebounds for the Nets, who captured their 5th consecutive victory. Kevin Durant missed his 3rd straight game with a hamstring injury.
Hi, I'm Warriors coach Zdravko Logarušić, and you are listening to ZiFM Sport.
Sports with a difference. Z. The big leagues, the big teams, the big players. The beautiful game on ZiFM Sport. All the rivalry.
Here is Harry Kane for Tottenham. Oh, what a goal! A classic derby goal from Harry Kane. Catch him if you can.
All the stars.
Oh, back here's Liverpool 2 in front. Talk about impudent. Talk about improvisation. Talk about Sadio Mane.
And all the game-changing moments.
And Raheem Sterling rattles it home. And once more, City are in front in a trice.
All the updates from the Premier League on ZiFM Sport.
It's the 289th derby. It's Liverpool versus Everton. It's just one place and 3 points separating the two sides on the Premier League table, and it promises to be an exciting one. Let's get the pre-match thoughts of Liverpool's Jurgen Klopp and Everton manager Carlo Ancelotti.
It's very important that we can that we defend as a unit. On our highest level, highest possible level, and because everybody knows that how important the defense in general is for being successful, and it's in our case not differently. So and that's why very, very important. So the Leipzig game was a really good sign that we can deal with misunderstandings, that we can deal with mistakes from the game before, because we played a really good game in a defensive part of the game for sure, against a really tricky side. You can struggle a lot against them, and we will probably realize that when we play them next time. But for that night we did really well as a unit, and that helped.
Z. Oh yes, of course, it was a really difficult game against City. It will be a difficult game against Liverpool. It will be a different game, I think, because every team has his own quality, his own characteristic, and it will be different, but what doesn't change is
now the champions Liverpool have plummeted to 6th place following a dramatic dip in form over the past 2 months, giving their neighbours from across Stanley Park the chance to move level on points with them this weekend if they can end their long Anfield hoodoo. Just taking a look at Liverpool, Barry, they got a much needed win in midweek, but that was the Champions League. This will be something of a test for them in the Premier League. It's their city rivals Everton.
It is indeed, and it adds to the drama in two perspectives, whereby it's a derby, so form doesn't matter. We throw that out the window. The second thing that is working in favour of Liverpool is the fact that there's a bit of a revenge mission. We all remember what happened at Goodison Park. There was a lot of drama in that game, and of course 2 casualties in Thiago Alcantara, his injury, and then of course the major injury to Virgil van Dijk, which he's still out from right now. So there's a lot of revenge in there, and I suspect that that's going to add as fuel to the jet that is Liverpool Football Club, and that may work in their favour.
Alois, Everton traditionally employ a very physical approach when they play versus Liverpool. Will the match officiating come under scrutiny?
Yeah, of course. I think that is actually number one from all the fans. They want to see how strict the referee is going to be, because everybody, like Barry said, that's when the casualties, that's when VVD was injured, and everybody is talking about it, and they want to see what exactly goes on, because a lot of fouls went unnoticed or went unpunished on that day when they played in the first leg. So people will be watching that, and obviously, like you said, Everton are always physical when they are playing against Manchester United. I think this the rivalry that is between the two teams, because every time they are playing, I think they've got this feeling that technically we are not better than Liverpool. So what do? We employ harshness, we employ crude tackles, we have to be tough, in order to beat them, because we can't match them man for man technically. So I think that's why they become so rough when they play against Liverpool. So this is what match officials need to actually look out for, and I'm sure that the FA is aware of it. I'm sure the referees committee is aware of it. They are going to be employing a very competitive referee that is going to be very alert and cut out all the fouls, and especially in the first few minutes, I think that is when a referee stamps his authority, and I think that referee should actually do that. First 20 minutes, he should be actually issuing cards or cautioning players so that they calm down. Once the players calm down, then they get to play football.
Get to play football, and both teams receiving fitness boost. Liverpool could welcome Naby Lad back into their squad for this match, whilst Everton confirmed that both Alan and Dominic Calvert-Lewin should be fit to start on a Saturday. But that's not the only big game that is on. The really big one for the weekend is Manchester City making the trip to Arsenal. They'll be playing at the Emirates. It should be a big game, Chris, but this is a place that Man City has turned into home.
It is a place that Man City has turned into home. Manchester City, in terms of their record right now, those 18 straight wins, they're high on confidence. Arsenal, a bit of a glitch, slip up once in a while, and we haven't seen a very consistent run of good form from Arsenal. So for now, I'm pretty much thinking Manchester City can snub this very quickly.
Madness City all the way, Barry, according to Chris, and there's very little to dispute that point of view, because if you take a look at City's record at the Emirates, their record versus Arsenal in recent seasons, I mean, that is the textbook definition of dominance.
Absolutely. Like Chris said, if they can record an 18th straight win at the Emirates, then whose home ground really is it? So Manchester City, then you add in the aspect of form, and you think to yourself, look, it's only one-way traffic here, especially with the brittle defense that Arsenal have. But that's us reading the form book, okay? But remember, there's the subplot. Mikel Arteta versus Pep Guardiola. Mikel Arteta, make no mistakes, it's like Ralph Hasenhüttl and Jurgen Klopp. Ralph Hasenhüttl always wanted to beat Jurgen Klopp. Mikel Arteta is always going to want to beat Pep Guardiola. This might just be the day.
All right, that is what the chasing pack will be hoping for. Ilkay Gundogan, he is expected to be fit after missing the win over Everton. Will he play is the big question. Kevin De Bruyne, of course, made his midweek return in that game versus Everton, and the question is, will he be handed a start? That is the wealth of riches that is at Pep Guardiola's disposal with that quality side he's got at Manchester City, who are sitting 10 points clear at the very top of the table. Before I get your predictions, the rest of your Premier League weekend fixtures: Wolves versus Leeds United gets the action underway tonight. Southampton versus Chelsea on the South Coast. Burnley entertain West Bromwich Albion. Fulham will welcome Sheffield United to the Cottage, whilst West Ham will entertain Tottenham in a London derby at the London Stadium. Aston Villa lock horns with Leicester City in a Midlands derby, whilst Manchester United welcome Newcastle to the Theatre of Dreams, Old Trafford. So, gents, Arsenal City, could there be a shock, Alois?
No, I don't see any shock, Mike. The only team is I can see in the Premier League that can beat Manchester City is Liverpool, but only when Liverpool are at their most efficient, when they are at their most high speed quality football. When they play high speed football, that's when they can actually beat Man City. All the other teams, nobody. I see.
Give me a scoreline. 3-1 for Man City. Chris.
Man City.
Yeah, I'm going to agree with Alois. 3-1 to Man City.
And Barry?
I think it's going to be a little bit tighter than that. I think it's going to end 2-1 in favour of Manchester City, simply because I think City's going to miss a lot of chances. Not that Arsenal's going to be competitive.
I think it's going to be 2-0 to Manchester City. I think if they pick their usual defence, they get Stones next to Ruben Diaz, João Cancelo playing as an inverted fullback. I think they should have too much for Arsenal. So this has got 3 points written all over it for City. I think the only thing that we're going to dispute is what scoreline will be recorded after 90 minutes of play.
In Italy, it's time for the Derby della Madonnina. Milan split into two. It's AC Milan versus Internazionale. Now, for the first time in a decade, the Milan Giants occupy the top two positions in Serie A heading into the city's derby, which is the 174th between the duo. Considering this, it's fair to say that Sunday's showdown is the biggest meeting between the two heavyweights since that fixture in 2011, when AC Milan defeated its Internazionale in the title race. So this one is delicately poised and an absolutely mouth-watering fixture, potentially, Alois, because these two teams, not only are they occupying the top two positions, but they're playing really good football.
Yeah, it's quite interesting, Perry, that we come into this match when these two teams are actually on top of their game. They are on top of the log. They are doing well. You know, usually, I think for the past few seasons, it has been Inter that has been doing so well. And AC Milan, they've been average, mid-table at most. But now, they're actually challenging for the championship. And there's so much excitement at AC Milan. And AC Milan, with their rich history, one of the biggest clubs in Europe when you look at the history. And now they are back in contention. And it just brings up all the excitement about football, and it's actually bringing the excitement about Italian football as well. And now this derby is back. The Milan derby is now back on the map, back on the world map, and people are actually watching it with much more interest this time around because both teams are playing well. It's going to be interesting to see who wins, and then we want to see that who is the king of San Siro as well. So everybody is expectant. Everybody is watching this match, and it has attracted all the world fans. They are looking for it. Like I said before, then 3 years ago, nobody cared about this derby anymore. But it's back in contention, and we are hoping that it's going to be a big match as we predict.
Alois is finding it hard to contain his excitement there, Chris, and you can understand why. Because these are traditional heavyweights of world football. Never mind Italian football. And in truth, to have them going such great guns, only a point separating them, it's certainly mouthwatering.
It's certainly mouth-watering. There's going to be increased intensity because whoever wins this match will either stay on top or go on top of the league. So there's a lot riding on the match, the quality of the players, the rivalry as well. So it should be a mouth-watering.
Zlatan Ibrahimovic rested for Milan's Europa League draw with the Red Star Belgrade. Was that with one eye on the Derby della Madonnina, you think, Mikey?
Definitely, Barry, but it was a selection that sort of like nearly backfired because they were held to a draw. And in fact, their form has been a bit patchy heading into this game, AC Milan. And I think they're the side with the greater pressure compared to Inter Milan, who haven't necessarily been at their best, but they've actually had the better of AC Milan in that fiery cup clash that was played just a few weeks ago. And this is Zlatan versus Lukaku. I think the striker that is able to dominate is the striker that may well lead their team to victory. Lukaku has got a point to prove because I thought Zlatan came out with a few very unsavory comments in the aftermath of that game where he took a dig at Lukaku's ability as a footballer. And so Lukaku certainly has got the motivation. But more than that, both teams have got a realistic chance of winning the Scudetto. That is the primary reason why they'll go all out to get 3 points in the Derby della Madonnina. But I'm tipping Inter all the way.
You're tipping Inter by a scoreline?
Yeah, I think Inter may win this one. I see goals because I think this may be a 2-1.
A 2-1 to Inter. Chris?
I'm going to go with a draw. I think this is going to be a 2-2.
A 2-2 draw. Nice. 4-goal thriller there, Alois?
2-1. 2-1 to AC Milan.
To AC Milan.
Head and heart.
Hidden art.
Simply because you're an AC Milan fan, I'm going to give this one to Inter. I think Inter will prevail 2-0 over their city rivals. Your weekend fixtures in Serie A look like this. Fiorentina host Spezia, Lazio take on Sampdoria, Parma versus Udinese, Atalanta versus Napoli, another tasty encounter, and then Benevento host AS Roma, while Inter Milan take on AC Milan. The old lady of Turin, Juventus, they're in action on Monday night. They take on Crotone.
Let's give you a quick wrap of the European League, starting off with the Bundesliga, where Schalke 04 take on Borussia Dortmund in the 158th Revier derby, with the hosts in desperate need of 3 points in order to prevent this derby meeting being their last one in the Bundesliga for at least a couple of seasons. Your key Bundesliga fixtures: Mönchengladbach takes on Mainz, Eintracht Frankfurt versus Bayern Munich, Augsburg versus Bayer Leverkusen, and Hoffenheim versus Werder Bremen. Over to Spain, and in what has already been a particularly strange La Liga campaign, league leaders Atletico Madrid will play Levante for the second time in less than a week. Your key La Liga fixtures this weekend: Real Valladolid takes on Real Madrid, Barcelona versus Cadiz, Athletic Club versus Villarreal. There's also action in Ligue 1 and those key fixtures: Brest versus Lyon, Saint-Etienne versus Reims, and Paris Saint-Germain versus Monaco.
We're out of time. We got to go. We'll catch you on Monday for our review show. But before we do that, there's also action across the pond, across the Limpopo in the DStv Premiership. Kaizer Chiefs entertain SuperSport. That's a tasty fixture. It's likely to be a SuperSport win, though. Chippa United will take on TS Galaxy. Baroka host Black Leopards. And then on Sunday, it's Cape Town City taking on Swallows. Swallows who are playing some fantastic football, very attractive. And then Chakuma Chamadzivandila will entertain Stellenbosch. That wraps it up. We'll catch you on Monday. Have a fantastic weekend, Zimbabwe. May God richly bless you. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it. Manande, out.